Made you feel comfortable.
Your parents didn't go through all that trouble giving you a unique name to have people
I
just
love my name. I promise you that. I love my name, and I put my son and daughter different names too. Their second last names is really different as well.
well, my first name is Lester, so after middle school, I started liking it.
Very good. Very good. It's very unique. Not everybody has it. Very good.
Good. My middle name's Leroy. I suppose I could go by Leroy. That would probably be even crazier. But
Mm, I heard that one. Yeah, I
well, I'm
heard
glad
that
you're
one
here,
before.
Jerickson. Thanks for showing up. You're an Archimedean dad or an uncle, or how'd you
Yeah, I'm the dad of two little babies. They're still there at the
that's
school. Yeah,
what a great
one is
school.
very good at school. I'm here to support, and I'm very happy you guys invited me. Yesterday I was in a meeting, and today I stood up a little bit late at the office so I could have this chat.
Well, thank you. We'll get you home to see your babies as soon as we can and make
Definitely.
it as fun as we can. Jarek, we're super glad to have you, Jarek. So thank you for being here. And we're
Just
going to get
anytime.
started in 1 minute. But
Okay.
just to make sure that we're all on the same page, that's our team stuff. I'll try to make this easy today. Do y'all see a picture of me and John and some dinosaurs and some other people on your screen? Jerickson, you see that? Make sure everybody can see it. Gabby, you see that picture?
Yeah, I see the picture there.
Cool. Jamie, and we got some people. Cool. Just want to make sure because a lot of the stuff we talk about is visual, and we try to be as concise as we can. Because one thing we realize it's 6 o'clock. Let's get started. One thing we realize about parents, especially the kind of parents who are doing well enough and care enough to send their kids to a school like Archimedean, is that y'all are busy. And we know that you're smart. We know that you might be a little bit curious about solar, although most of y'all said you're newbies, and that's fine. And so we promise to be respectful of your time. In fact, 25 minutes from now, we will have usually covered what most people want to know. We have 2 hours. If y'all want to stay and you want to talk, that's fine with us. But the fundraiser is super fast and it's very easy. And all it takes to raise funds is to introduce yourself and tell us who you came to support to make sure you're all here for our comedian, like I believe you are. And then, if you could, since it's a small group, let's just kind of do it popcorn style, where if you have any question about solar energy at all or anything you've heard, if you could share that, we'll just kind of hit one question at a time or one thought at a time and be done as soon as we can. But who we are, you might have heard from your friends already that it was easy, fun fundraiser. But we started this about in 2015 as a way to support organizations. We actually enjoy giving donations to good causes. What allows us to do it is that we have people who, when they show up to something like this, sometimes they were already looking for solar. Sometimes they were curious about it but didn't want to talk to a salesperson. Sometimes they weren't planning on solar at all, and then they showed up and learned some stuff and they were like, wow. But so far we've had people in 15 states use our service to go solar, and what we earn from those folks making a decision to do something that's awesome for the world is the money that we have to give to y'all tonight. So there's nothing expected of you, but if you do like to go solar, if you're thinking about solar or it sounds like a good thing after you learn about it, our invitation to you is to learn more and to give us a chance to be your guide. You can spend as much time with us or as little as you want, but we're glad you're here tonight. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And let's just do some introductions and then one quick question you might have about solar energy, and we'll be done 23 minutes from now. So, Jerickson, do you want to start since I've already talked to you?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Well, my name is Jerickson Bermudez. I'm here to support our comedian. I have a son and a daughter in our comedian school. I think the solar program is something very positive, pretty much for everybody in the world. Um, and just to come up with a question, I think I do have a question. I think I applied for my house to have the solar panels on the roof. Unfortunately, for what I know, understand, since we are in the middle of a private association. I think there are some limitations towards that. Maybe if you guys can help me out and address something regarding that, what
Yeah.
kind of limitations there are, because they did not let me, well, mostly I contacted like three companies to do this, and the three companies, they talked to me about it, and they, once I mentioned the place where I live, they decided not to go further do with that. So I'll appreciate any help you
Do
guys
you
can
live
give
in
me.
Coral Gables?
No, no, I live in Kendall Breeze. That's in the area of Kendall. So
Okay. Well, the reason I asked, Coral
I,
Gables has
my
some.
house is not a house; it's actually a townhouse. So I think that's one of the reasons I'm not really sure how it works.
I
So,
think
but I'm
that's
very curious about it.
Yeah, man. So the way it normally works in a homeowners association is that the Supreme Court has said that they can't stop you from going solar, but they can do
Mhm,
things like make you put your panels not facing a certain direction.
mhm,
And most of those rules are just in place because solar panels used to be ugly. Any of y'all come
mhm.
in tonight thinking those things are ugly? Usually there's a mob on
Okay.
there that's like, I don't like the way they look. But solar panels are beautiful now. They're all black. They're made to be in nice places. They're an additive thing that looks more like a skylight, and you don't even have to have it on your house. Now, if you built a structure, I am sure the HOA would have something to say about an additional structure. But as far as your home, if you want to do it, they can't stop you, but they can make you do some paperwork like, Jerickson, can you show us how your solar design complies with rule number 36497? And then we have to look and see what that rule is, but that's part of our service, is to see what the situation is. So those other companies you talk to, townhomes are challenging because of roof spaces, but in Florida, you're allowed to have solar on a townhome. Um,
All
I've
right, that's
I've
very good.
looked up the laws, but if you're willing to go through a lot of legwork and we can help you with it, it'd be fun to
Hmm.
see if we it would be fun to see if we could do it. But yes, living in a townhome, you
Well,
have problems because do you own your whole roof or a part of it?
hmm, well,
Yeah,
yeah, it is connected to other roof, obviously.
yeah.
Yeah, so I have
So
one on
if
the right and one on the left, obviously.
are you friends with your neighbors?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Oh, cool. Then
Very good friends, actually.
we could probably figure something out and maybe do them all at the same time.
That will be great.
It would be a fun project. So if you already know that you're looking to go into solar and you'd like for us to dig into that, Luke, are you on here? Can you drop that link in the chat just to save Jerickson some time while other people are answering their questions? You can click the link that's going to get dropped in the chat box and book a time to come back to talk to us. And we'll see what we could do to help you out, Jerickson. But thank you for showing up to support a good cause tonight. Who would you like to hear from next?
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, who's next? Well, I guess we could pick on Gabby because I talked to Gabby already too. She was early.
Hi,
Hi,
my name
Gabby.
is Gabby Rodriguez. I'm an Archimedean family too. I have a daughter, an Archimedean at this time, moving to middle school. And actually, right now, I'm interested in solar, but I don't have really actually any question. It's just I wanted to find out more about it to see how it works and how it really, yeah, to see how it really works.
Do you know how you get electricity at night when the sun's not shining?
Yes, from the solar, from the day.
From the days, yes, but the sun doesn't shine at night. So that's a good. I guess what I'm asking you, if I'm hearing you right, you like the idea of solar, but when you say you'd like to see how it works, do you mean like how the electricity works, how the partnership is with the utility company, or could you
No,
say?
actually, how is it like the process, what you put on, how is like that type? Like I
Okay.
was hearing the other guy that was talking about the roof, which I think that's something awesome.
Mhm.
So I really don't know what else that you guys offer. Is just roofs or
We can help you go solar any way you want to go solar, whether it's your roof, if you want to build a new kitchen, you want to have a new structure out in the backyard, like a big patio somewhere. Like you can do it however you want to do it. We don't have a set way that we sell people solar to make money. We work with communities like our comedian and with folks like y'all who are curious. And then we just guide your process to figure out what you want. So the process, Gabby, First of all, it would be booking a time to come back and have a personal conversation with us. And what we do, it's on Zoom, by the way. We don't ever send anybody to your house, ever. Unless you decide you want to go solar, then somebody has to install it. So do you see this picture with those green lines?
Yes.
This is my friend in Ohio. And this is the sunlight. And what this chart shows is when they get light touching their panels, which month, at what time of the day. So you see that in January at noon, because these trees are really tall and the sun is very low in the sky in January in Ohio, that she's not getting any light. So her solar panels aren't making any energy, which is a bummer.
Right.
But at noon in June, the sun's up higher in the sky, and it's no problem at all. All of you have a different situation regarding your home. So the very first thing to do is to figure out how many solar panels you need to make the amount of electricity that you want to make. And that's personal for everyone, which is why it takes a personal conversation, is because I don't know if you're going to get a new Tesla and you need extra energy because you want to put your charging station on your property, or if you're planning on cutting back on electricity usage. So what we do is we look at how much you've used in the last year, then ask you the questions to figure out if we should adjust it. And then you and we together decide where to put these panels. We can click them on and off. We can see how that affects the production and how much electricity they would make. And then after that, we tell you how much it costs based on how many panels you want. And then we show you how much you will save, because if you're making your own electricity, guess what? You don't have to buy anymore.
Bulbs.
What, boats?
No.
Yeah. For you, is FPL your power company?
Yes, FPL.
Yeah. You don't have to buy electricity from FPL
Exactly.
if you make it yourself. So solar actually saves money. And our goal is just to create a system that you like, that you understand why we created it the way that we did, and then to transparently show you all of the cost associated with that, and then your different payment options, so you can choose whether or not it makes sense for you, and you can take as much time to think about it as you would like, or you can move quickly as soon as you would like to. So that's the first part of the process, is just figuring out what you need and helping you understand it. The second part of the process is like, cool, I want to do it. Well, then it takes 3 or 4 months to deal with the county, Dade County, and it allow them to give you a permit based on the engineered drawings. It says that it's safe for hurricanes. As safe as anything can be for hurricanes, right? Because a hurricane could blow away your entire house.
Right.
And if it does, your solar panels are covered under your homeowner's insurance. So we check that too. And then the actual job itself, once all the paperwork is done, it only takes like 1, 2, 3 days. And 90% of the work is outside. So you don't have people running around inside your house. Like if you're redoing your kitchen, some of y'all might have gone through before. It's not a project like that where people are going to mess it up. It's really quick. And then you get an inspection from the county to make sure that we put it up right. And you get an inspection from the utility company. And then they turn your panels on and give you a new box. So you know how you have that box on your house that counts how much electricity you use?
Yes.
Well, you get a new one, because now not only are you using electricity, but you're producing it. And when you are making more than you need, you're just sending it back out to your neighbors, and FPL pays you for that. And they keep track of it automatically using this meter. And so then at nighttime, it's like rollover minutes, where some months you make more than you need. That's what the orange line is when you're making your electricity. The blue lines are when you use it. And so then you just use credits that you have saved up by sharing it with your neighbors during the time you're not making enough, or cloudy days, or times like that. And I'll get around to the bill and show you all that stuff in a second. I don't want to give people a chance to not talk, but did that answer your question about the process, or was that too much information?
Yes, that's actually very good, very explanatory.
Thank you for asking such a good question, Gabby. Thanks for being on time. And I think if you look in your chat box, if you'd like to come back and do an art class with us for your home, we'd love to have you. But you just raised $50 for our comedian. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Do you see anybody you know that you'd like to hear from next?
Actually not. I don't see anybody.
Oh,
No.
must be a big school.
I know.
Well, it's either Jaime or Jamie. Mr. Lopez. They ask you to unmute. You're muted. You're on mute, sir. Mr. Lopez, can you click the unmute button? There we go.
Yeah. How you doing?
Doing well. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Cool. Well, so how do you say your name?
My name is Jaime Lopez.
Okay.
I'm supporting Archimedia, as I guess most of the crowd today.
And then have any questions or thoughts about solar or how it works?
Well, actually, I'm more like listening to, because, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been, over the years, hearing all these things about this solar thing. And I was curious, but at the same time, I was like, damn, my work, the time or the money, it will pay in the long run. So as I say, mainly to listen what you have to say.
Cool. So what you've heard is that solar is a big upfront investment and eventually it pays itself off, maybe. Is that correct? Right. Okay. So let me share with you and the rest of the crowd. Thank you for asking good questions. I want to share with you 4 quick facts about solar since you came to listen. Do you know about the tax credit?
Yeah, I have heard. As I said, over the years, I've been hearing all this, good things, and I wouldn't say bad things, but when you don't know much, you're always like, oh, I don't really know how it works, but it might be a good opportunity to really know about it.
Well, thank you for learning. So first of all, the government will pay for 26% of the cost of your system right now. So whatever you pay for your solar, you get a tax credit for 26% of that next year. Number 2, it increases the value of your property because a home that can make its own electricity is more valuable than one that can't.
Right.
Number 3, and this is to speak to something I heard you say, most people don't know this.
Right.
But the way most people go solar now is without paying a dime up front. They get their entire system installed without paying anything. They get it turned on without paying anything. And then they have a monthly payment from a loan.
Right.
And that loan is typically less than, in Florida especially, and with our program and our really low prices especially, the payment is less than what your electricity bill used to be. So let me give you an example of that. Here's a person who right now is using fire to make steam to make their electricity. And it's costing them $127 a month to do that. Some of y'all have way bigger bills than that. So this is a person that's spending $127 a month. They found out when they booked a time to come hang out with us that they could actually make 100% of the electricity they needed. So if you could make 100% of the electricity you need, why would you buy it from FPL?
Yeah, I heard when you were explaining that before too. Yeah.
Thank you for listening so well. Well, this person's solar payment, Jaime, is in this case, it's $37 less. This is a 21-year loan. This is a never-ending payment.
Right.
And you can pay this off whenever you want to, because when you own the equipment, the sunshine is still free. And the last thing, and the most important thing, is that you're paying for it with money that you're already planning to spend. It's
Correct.
it's not like an investment where it gives your money back in time, although it does that too. And it's a very easy number to figure out. If you want to know when your payback period is, we can tell you that exactly after we
Right.
know your personal situation and what you want. But
Right.
isn't it kind of wild to even be thinking about a payback situation? What's the payback situation of your current electricity bill? When will you pay off FPL forever?
Right.
It just doesn't happen.
It's a never-ending payment.
Right. And so y'all are all homeowners. And if you don't hear anything else I say tonight, just consider that you're smart enough to not rent your housing, but you
Right.
rent your electricity.
Actually,
all
one
we're-
question came to my mind. I mean, sorry to interrupt you before it gets off my mind. What will happen in the case you move out of the house?
You'll sell your house faster and for more money. And if you're paying off a loan, then you just transfer whatever balance is left to the new person. And we work with your real estate agent to help them understand that they get to live in a house that's going to make energy for way less money. And that makes the house more valuable.
Right. So, but for you to, let's say, to move out, you will, in my case, if I will have to pay off the loan, right?
Or you could take them with you if you wanted to.
Oh,
just-
okay. All
It
right.
just would,
Kind
it
of
wouldn't
like a
make any
satellite.
Yeah, you just probably wouldn't want to. It'd be a big effort, and it'd
Right.
probably be less expensive to capitalize. See, most people think you've heard about it for a long time, and you haven't gotten around to doing it yet because there's this idea that it's a really hard process. And so if somebody already sees solar on your home, they think that you've already been through this horrible process. And so there's value just in the fact that it's already there. Most people really like solar energy. In fact, this is a fact, every 75 seconds, somebody else in America did it last year. Everybody's getting solar.
A few of my neighbors has that. I mean, actually, my mom's, not my neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're a cool dude. We'd love to hang out with you and explain your situation, but just for asking a question and introducing yourself, you just raised
Thank you.
$50 for our comedian. Thank you. Is there anything else on your mind today?
No, I'll be here listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? My screen's kind of small tonight. I see Benjamin, although I've never met a Benjamin that looked like you before, Miss Lugo.
Actually, that's my son's name that attends our Community Academy.
Thank you for showing up. Did you have any, let me ask you a different kind of question. If you could pay the same price for solar that you do for your electricity bill, like if it was just the same price, only you knew that your solar bill would go away like your mortgage bill one day, what would you want to know before you'd be okay with putting it on your home or on your property?
I guess is basically knowing all the steps from the loan, the system itself, how it works, all of those details that people don't know.
Yeah. Well, here's something I haven't shared with you yet. Solar panels are guaranteed for 25 years. And they last longer than that because the very first ones ever made still work. And they were made in 1954. So as far as the panels go, it's really just a personal choice nowadays about whether or not you want to work, whether or not you want them to be working 80% as well or 92% as well at the end of the warranty as they did the day they came out of the box. And so as far as the process goes, I guess, let's see. Gabby, do you want to explain the process? You learned a couple of minutes ago. What do you want to tell her what the first step is?
The first step, you have to see what I really want in my house. What accommodates my house.
Yep. And then you figure out how much electricity that makes, how much it costs, what it saves you. And then we go from there. So thank you for remembering, Gabby. And do you remember if Miss Lugo wanted to find out what she wants in her house, do you know where she could go to do that?
What is it? I'm sorry?
Do you know where she could go if she wanted to explore further?
To your page and
Yep.
make a Zoom conference.
Yes. And do you know where to find the link to make the Zoom conference? I know sometimes I talk funny.
Here in the messages.
Yeah. So the chat box. So
Yes.
so we'll be glad to answer all those questions. And the truth is, it takes about 30 minutes to answer them. You've already given us enough information to get started. In fact, if you would like, we can create an initial design before you even meet with us, so you have time to review it before we get on the phone together, if that would be useful for you. But the whole process is pretty quick. It's finding, Gabby knows, it's clicking on the box in that conversation, finding a time, zooming in on your house with me or John or Luke or and it's just a few of us. We're just a small team. And then from there, the way it works is during the day, sunlight makes electricity for you using solar panels, the same electricity your refrigerator uses. Your house uses whatever it needs, and whatever you don't need, you share with your neighbors, and FPL pays you for it.
That's
And
interesting. I didn't know that part.
What part is
Whatever all the energy that I don't use that is produced can be used for the other neighbors, and FPL can, pay us back for that energy produced.
Thank you. I'm glad you got that. Here's an example of that. So this is an organization, this is a utility company in in Texas, but it works the same way at FPL. During the nighttime when there was no sun or on cloudy days, this family bought $93 worth of energy from FPL. But during the pretty days, they made everything their house needed plus an extra $107. And so at the end of the month, FPL, or their version of FPL, owed them $15.26. But instead of writing a check, they just gave them a credit that they had a whole year to use. And with FPL, if you don't use all of your credits, if you make too much electricity, they will actually write you a check at the end of the year for whatever you have left over. It's for the wholesale amount, but it's pretty cool. But you have a whole year, Ms. Lugo, to use your energy. And this is that same family, that 1526. The next month, the power company owed him 41, and then 25. And then he owed them $1.43 in February. And then he owed them $37 in March. But that's just because he got his panels put up in October. So he didn't have last spring to save up the big rollover minutes like he just got this year, where they owed him $53 and then they owed him $80. So the whole point of designing a system with you is so that you understand, okay, because we put these panels, this type of panel in this location, and because the sun hits my house the way that it does, that's why we do that together, is so that we know that the amount of electricity we're creating is the amount that you actually need.
Okay.
Does that help? Yeah, John.
I know when we were first learning about this, one thing that really confused me is why in the world the power company would be willing to let me stay connected to them, so I still had unlimited access to electricity and just as reliable as of electricity, and buy the electricity from me. And so I don't know if does anybody have any idea why in the world their power company would be willing to purchase electricity from them, being that they're in the business of selling it? It doesn't make sense, right? It's like, why in the world would they do that?
The reason FPL will pay you for your power is because they got to get it from somewhere. And the way they make it now, far away. Did y'all know that FPL loses like half of the power that it makes by the time it sends it to you? you lose power in transmission. So if they can just use the power that you're making and you don't need right next door, it saves them a lot of money on transmission costs. And because you guys live in a state where you have a public utility commission, and the people of the state said, hey, we want to do what California is doing, and we want to do what the 36 other states are doing. We want you to pay us for the energy that we're giving you. And they said, okay. So that's why FPL is willing to pay you for the energy that you use. This is how we make our electricity right now. This thing I have on the screen. This is the world our kids are growing up in a world where we're blowing up mountains and driving massive trucks and trains just to set this stuff. This is coal, to set it on fire, to make water hot so we can turn a big magnet through copper like a giant science experiment. Versus one little solar panel that does the same work that all of these pieces do. And John and I always laugh because it's kind of like this. Your iPhone now can do all the things that these other pieces used to be able to do. And we all like things that are simpler. A solar panel just makes things simpler because the sun's going to come up every day. So what else? So who else on there? I know we're taking a little bit longer than we thought tonight. Y'all have some really good questions. Thank you for your patience. You're free to go at any time you would like. But I think we still have RC on here who hasn't introduced herself, and Tanu as well. So did I say your name right, RC?
Yes, you said it perfectly, actually. Yeah, my name is RC. I'm actually attending for my niece that attends Archimedean. So I do have a question, because it is something that my husband and I have considered for some time, but there are a couple things that have held me back. One being I wasn't informed enough. I wasn't really familiar with what it consists of and how it works, and the value of it. But like I guess maybe typical woman, aesthetically, it's something that's held me back because I'm not sure how it would look on my home. Is that something that is up to us to decide how it's positioned on your roof, or is it dependent on what's going to capture the most sunlight? How exactly does that work?
Yeah, whenever you get back together with us, it's something that we do together. So the short answer to your question is yes, you decide where you want it on your roof. Okay. Nobody else does. In fact, you might have been busy earlier when we were showing you this, but you don't even have to put it on your roof. You could build a pergola if you wanted to. Can you see that on the screen, the pergola?
Yeah. I did see that. That is beautiful. I don't know if it would be within our budget to do. We'd have to accommodate on what we have available, the roofing that we have available at this time. But I have seen homes where it, takes over the, frontal view of the ceiling, or I'm sorry, of the roof. I'd probably want it more towards the back of my roof, just so that, it's not something you can see from the front, because I don't think it's aesthetically pleasing to the eye, to be honest. So that's the only thing that's kind of held me back. So like you mentioned, we would be able to decide where we want to position it.
100%. And the only reason that matters, now, if a normal solar company would say, not really, because they charge so much for their equipment, okay, that they need to be only put it in the most efficient positions, or else they can't make it look like you're saving money.
Okay.
So it's got to be just right.
Okay.
But because y'all showed up to support a good cause tonight, and we didn't have to send these salespeople out to find you, then you get to learn something like this. The most efficient position in the Northern Hemisphere is pointing south for a solar panel. East and west are good, but it takes 1.5 solar panels facing north to make the same amount of electricity as one that faces south, RC. So if you buy 1.5 more solar panels, your job is about 1.5 times more expensive.
Right.
But if it's worth it to you to keep it off the front, I don't know which side of your house is which. For all I know, the south side might be the back side, or it might be east and west, and it doesn't matter. And that's why we hop on together to figure it out, because, you know, the sun shines in a different position based on where we put them. And that's our whole service, is getting together, asking you, where do you want them? Let's see how much light's going to hit them. Then let's figure out how much that light is worth in terms of dollars, and then compare it to your current option. And then you get to decide what you want to do after that. What most people are finding out is they save money from day one, no matter how they do it. The only exception to that is for people who want batteries. But did you have any more questions about the aesthetics before?
No, I do have another question. I don't know if it's a scenario that you've run into in the past, but in the case that, you know, it's time to redo your roof,
Mhm.
and, you know, what happens in that case? You have your solar panels installed, you have to redo your roof for insurance reasons. What happens then?
Well, the good news is these things work like a hard hat. And so have you ever had like a rug on a hardwood floor that stayed there for a long, long time? And then you pulled the rug up and you noticed the sunspot around it, how the wood was bleached?
Okay.
Solar does the same thing for the roof of your house.
Okay.
So it's going to protect it from the sun. So if your roof is fairly new, whenever you start, you might not even need to replace the part that's under your roof. If you do need to get a roof replacement, that 26% tax credit also covers the roof that your solar panels set on, whatever percentage that is. And so, but to directly speak to your question, the cool thing about a solar project is that it doesn't take that long to pop them on and off once they're already
okay.
on.
Okay.
And so it would be probably it would take a day, and it would cost somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000. I would assume. That's a wild guess. I could be more specific. You might find a roofer who wants the job badly enough to do it. You can call us and we'll help you find those people. You can find them on your own, but it's not a challenging job once all the wiring is hooked up. It's like Lego blocks. You know, it takes a long time to build a giant Lego structure,
Right.
but it doesn't take that long to peel one block off the top and put it back on.
So in that case, the actual project would just be to remove it and then place it back on. All the connections, all the wiring, that's already in place. That does not need to be touched.
It needs to be unplugged, but other than that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. But and the actual expense there would be the the project of having to just put it, because the panel already belongs to us.
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly right.
Okay.
And when you really put it, this won't make sense to you until you see your numbers.
Right.
But when you really start thinking about, okay, I'm thinking about something that might happen 10 years from now. If I'm spending $200 a month on electricity, then that means in 10 years, I'm going to spend $24,000 I'm never going to get back. That money could have gone towards paying off your solar panels forever. And the amount that you save in that time, not to mention the energy hedge bet, like making your electricity yourself means you can hedge against inflation. Because if electricity prices go up, yours is the same cost because you've already paid for it. You own the equipment to make it. And so the amount that would cost you to do like the little bit of labor to get your house redone usually pales into comparison to what you're losing by not starting to make an ownership payment as soon as you can. I mean, you guys are homeowners now. Like, don't you kind of wish, and maybe y'all had good influences, but don't you kind of wish people would have told you that buying a home was a good idea sooner?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing with solar. It's just like you have a chance to own your electricity now, or at least own the way it's produced. You don't own the sun, you don't own the fuel, but you own the equipment that turns the fuel into electricity. So
I have one last question. I'm sorry.
great. Well, you're helping everybody out.
Is there a built-in warranty
Yeah.
as far as like repairs, any mishaps that might occur along the way?
Do you have a son or a daughter?
I don't have any.
Oh, well, do you hang out with wild people that like to party?
Unfortunately not. I think I should. I don't.
Well, if you're like, what's he asking me these questions for? I was going to say, if you have a teenage boy or a wild group you're around and they take a baseball bat to your panels, that is not covered.
Okay, understood. Yeah.
But if it's and if it's an act of nature, then that's covered by your homeowner's insurance. So if it breaks, if it's a manufacturer's defect, that's covered by the manufacturer. But the most important, and there's warranties for roof penetration and leaks or anything that could come from that. That's all warranted. But the most important warranty is the production warranty. How much electricity is this thing going to make? And the panels that we have are guaranteed, RC, to be making between 80 to 92% as much electricity at the end of 25 years as they did the very first day you put them on your home. So it's a very, let me show you this too. Because you might be asking, how do I know they're going to work? Well, you get an app, you get an app for that. This is actually from John's house. John has batteries, which we could talk about too if you wanted to, but this shows how much electricity is being produced, how much is going into the battery, how much is going back out to his utility company, how much is going into the house. And it all points to the day, you know how much you're using. Luke's dad stopped using the microwave when he realized how much electricity he was using whenever he did use the microwave. Like, you'll become a lot more energy conscious just by having an app. You know, there's an app for that. I wouldn't give this. So if you do end up with a wild crowd and there's a man in your life, don't give him this app or else he won't be able to stop looking at it. Dads get hooked, you know, looking at how much money is falling out of the sky for free. So any other questions, RC? This is
no, great. You answered them all. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. I think we have
Mr. RC, RC just brought up two things, but if somebody did take a baseball bat to your panels, they usually cost like 120 to 180 bucks a piece. So if it's not an act of nature, like a hurricane or something like that, or you just didn't want to use your $1,000 deductible to fix one panel, you know,
right.
It's 130 bucks or something like that. So it's really not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that was something that came up for me. And then the other thing is, I don't know why this. So I put in slide number 2, Lester, Chris's house, the install that we just did. This is a friend of ours, and he lives in this new neighborhood. They're still building houses, and his neighbors have been stopping by his house to ask him, like, and Chris
already?
Yeah. And Chris is this like really dryly sarcastic, very funny person, but he's very dry and sarcastic. And so one of his neighbors was like, "So is it worth it?" And I heard him say it because his neighbor came over to introduce himself because everybody's new. And Chris goes, "Well, I did it." And he just stopped talking and just looked at him. And it was like this weird silence.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Basically, it's like, well, what do you think about me?
Yeah.
Super hilarious. And then the other thing is, this lady came by and she asked this question about like, you know, wow, those look really good. And he was like, yeah, but you know, I've never heard. I don't know how he worded it, but he said something. It was just a few words. It was hilarious. It was something about he's never heard of anybody buying a house because of how beautiful the shingles look.
Oh, that's true.
It was so funny. It was the most. I'd never even heard the idea before. It was hilarious. I just couldn't stop. I was like, yeah, it's like if you think solar panels are ugly, like does that mean you think your shingles are beautiful?
I know, it's true. If you put it that way, yeah, it does make sense. It makes me sound silly, but thank you. I appreciate the insight.
Yeah, those are good stories, John. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. I think, was there anybody else? I think there's somebody here that stayed way past their time that didn't get a chance to introduce themselves. So I think that we ought to do something for them too. But we've got plenty of time to ask plenty more questions. But at this point, folks probably have a pretty good idea that solar looks like something at least worth exploring at a time that's comfortable for you. So instead of having you go out and talk to a bunch of companies and invite people to your house, you're welcome to do that. But we know you're busy, and we decided to make it really easy for you, which is one reason schools like to work with us. people who use our service to go solar typically save thousands of dollars on a comparable system. And the reason why is because we don't have to pay salespeople to find you. We don't have to pay for marketing or radio ads or billboards or all those Facebook ads you're going to start getting if you type in solar. Like, we just have a real conversation with our fellow humans, try to make it pleasant, raise some funds for a good cause, then give you a chance to continue if you want to. So if you guys have any things on your mind that would keep you from wanting to book a time, please let me know. If you have any more solar questions, let me know. And I'm actually going to run to the bathroom and let John talk to y'all real quick. But this is how, John, can you make sure that while I go?
I heard you say, can I make sure? And the answer is yes, but I don't know what. You
Make sure people understand how to get back in touch with us. If they
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Yeah. It would be a shame if somebody did want to continue to explore, but they couldn't because of technical reasons. Does anybody have any questions about how to find the link in the chat? Sometimes people haven't used Zoom, and so they haven't located the chat box before. So is anybody in that boat? Would anybody prefer, just so you guys are aware, this happened just the other night. We got off the Zoom, and this Archimedean supporter definitely wanted to book a time to have us co-create a custom design with her, but she didn't know when we ended the Zoom that the chat would go away and she wouldn't have the link. So now would be a good time to click it and have it up in another browser, or copy and paste it to yourself or something like that. But you guys know how it works with dentists. You go to the dentist, and then what do they have you do before you leave? You're muted, RC, but I'm assuming that you said set up the next dentist appointment. Yeah, that's exactly what we do. It's like, nobody really wants to go to the dentist, but we're glad that we did. And nobody really wants to do anything extra in the busy world that we live in. But as Lester mentioned earlier, don't we wish we would have started paying ourselves a mortgage earlier? Started taking all that money we put into rent and put that towards owning something, So that's all we're talking about now. So if, no time is the right time. So right now is the best time to click that link and pick a time. It's super easy to reschedule. So if you're not sure about exactly when you might be able to be together with your teammate or your partner to co-create a custom solar design, you can pick a time now. And if it doesn't work out, then it's easy to reschedule. You can do it all electronically. Lester, maybe just walk them, just like click the link and show folks what they're clicking.
Thanks for showing up to support our comedian. So right now I'm clicking in the chat box, and then I'm clicking that link that Luke put in, and now this comes up. So if I'm like, okay, I know we've got something to do on Monday. Saturday's a good day for us, though. After we get back from shopping, we always go shopping at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We get back, or we go shopping at 11, get back by 3. We don't have Saturday nights available yet because you really ought to be out having fun or being with people you love them, or else we'd be miserable people to talk to. But up until 3 o'clock on Saturday, we have times. You just put your name in and your email address. And then if you want to invite your husband or wife or grandma or financial planner or whoever to come with you, you could add them as guest. Anything you'd like for us to know, like, hey, I really don't want these on the front of my house. So when you create my initial design, don't put them there. Or like Osee, or you're like, hey, I've gotten over that now, and I just want them in the most efficient locations. So that's okay too. Whatever you want, you just tell us that right there. And then this text message is just to remind you. That's not to sign you up for some mailing list. You guys got the text probably to remind you about the meeting tonight. It's the same service. And then we will show up When we show up, we'll already have your address pulled up. We'll use the information you shared with us to go ahead and create an initial design about how much energy you need to make. And then we'll create this for you. After we figure out how many panels you need, we can tell you, okay, these panels will make $67,000 worth of electricity, even if the price of electricity never goes up. After your tax credit, it will cost you $32,000. You can pay cash for that if you want to, or you can pay absolutely nothing, zero down, and it's $200 a month that eliminates a $225 of your electricity bill, because you'd rather use somebody else's money and pay them interest than to pull out a big chunk of change that you might want for your next house or an Airbnb property or whatever you're saving your cash for. You can just use somebody else's money, and that's the tax credit. And we'll say, okay, this is how much your tax credit is. Oh, and would you like to have power after a hurricane when nobody else does and not have to crank up a generator? Well, that's what a battery is for. And then we'll show you your battery options. And then you can think about it as long as you would like. You can get as many quotes as you would like. You can not do it if you want to, and we'll still be nice. We created this service for one purpose, is to add as much value as possible to as many lives as possible. That's why we work with organizations like our comedian, who are already doing a great job of that. So thank y'all for showing up. But yeah, did I do a good job, John, of showing people how that works?
Yeah, thanks. But there's fear of the unknown, right? If we don't know what's ahead of us, sometimes we don't do it. So thanks for diving into that.
Yeah. So it's Jaime and Jerickson and Osee. I never met an RC before. That's cool. I had a friend named RC, but he was like like RC Cola, but that's not RC. It's RC.
Yeah, that was my email address for a very long time, RC Cola.
Just to help people read it. So yeah, bring your husband with you when you come too. Like, if y'all have been thinking about it, tell him if we have to answer the same questions again, it's okay. And keep in mind, this is also on YouTube. So if you search Ovanova fundraising, you'll see our session on there, and he could rewatch it that way too. So whatever's better. Anything else now that you got these questions on your mind, Osee?
No, I'll save them for the one-on-one. I don't want to take anybody's time. Thank you.
What time are you coming back to see us?
I'm trying to schedule it for Monday. So
cool. We're looking forward to seeing you. Are you having any trouble with it?
It looks like you already did it.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. It seems pretty easy.
We'll see you Monday, Osee. Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see y'all then.
Thank you. You as well. Take care. Good night.
Thanks for supporting your niece. Thanks for coming, guys.
Of course. Bye.
Bye. Jerickson, did we do all right? I mean, it sounds
very
like
good. Thank you. Thank you for all the help.
It sounds like you're really actually motivated to go solar, because townhomes are more challenging. We have yet to do a townhome, but not because we don't want to, because we haven't found anybody who was friends with their neighbors and could actually.
Yeah, I know. I guess
stay the course.
We just have to speak to them, and if everything goes dry with the policies and all of that, then hopefully we can go ahead and do that.
Invite them to one of these.
But I'm more than happy to go ahead and do the project. And I put my meeting for Monday at 6, this next Monday. Hopefully you guys have some time and we can do
Looking forward to seeing you there. We will.
Perfect.
We'll be
perfect. Thanks.
Ready for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
See you,
See you soon.
Bye-bye. Thanks for you.
Jaime, you still there?
Yeah.
So were you trying to be nice, and now you've got the big mean questions you're waiting until the end to ask? Or
yeah,
I thought maybe you were saving your special objections. What's that?
No, I've been listening carefully. Yeah, I've been listening to all the questions that all the guys in the group been asking you, and yeah, you keep learning, and sometimes, oh yeah, how I didn't think about those questions, but yeah,
That's why we do it as a group. You know, it just makes it more fun. So
Right.
do you want to learn something else real quick? It's kind of fun. This is something that we just ran out of time to talk about, but if you have solar, and I'll tell all these people when they come back and the lights go down, like after a hurricane,
Oh yeah.
like, you know, they're out working on the power lines after a hurricane. Well, your solar panels shut down. So even if you have solar, you won't have power if the power is down unless you have a battery. And a battery is the same as a generator.
Oh, okay.
And then you will have power when nobody else does. So instead of driving to Georgia to take a shower, you still have electricity at your home without having to crank or service a generator. Which, do you already have a generator, or is that?
Yeah, you must have a generator. Yeah?
Yeah, unless you have a battery. So thank you for your time. Is there anything else on your mind that you would like to discuss or ask today? What you guys?
No. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll be checking this with my wife. She already, checked you too, and so we'll go from there. Right now, we, as I was mentioned to you, we're in the house. We're not planning to move any soon, but we're not planning to stay forever. That's what I was asking you that question about. If you move out, what will happen? But you already talked. Yeah. How it works. So, but definitely we'll check out later with you guys if we decided to go ahead and do it.
Sounds great. Jaime, thank you for your time. You were pleasant. I love your smile. What do you do? Do you work in like sports or something? You've got
yeah. Tell it to my dentist, the bills that I have to pay. The dentist, anyways, right?
No comment.
And they always say like, "Oh, you have to do a better job." Yeah. Well, all right, man. Thank you. Thanks to everybody that attend and for supporting our comedian.
Yeah, y'all be good. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah, it was funny watching Chris with his neighbors. It's great.
Those stories are great. That's like, stories cover objections and move people forward. Both of those stories were perfectly timed. and I love them, especially because I know Chris Foster. That's a total Chris Foster move. Both those stories, like, I got them.
Yeah. Are they worth it? Well, I did it. I thought there would be something else too, but it was just silence.
It's really the best possible answer. Yeah. Because he lets them fill in all the gaps. And I live in the same neighborhood you do. So I probably make choices at about the same level you do. And I'll be glad to talk to you about it if you want to talk about it. But I'm not going to try to sell you on it. The proof is in the pudding. Like that one answer kind of shows why it works to have neighbors go solar.
Yeah. I wonder how we can utilize that in what we're doing. But the most funny part is just like, yeah, you bought that house because of the roof was so beautiful, right? You know what I mean, or whatever. Like, man, but aren't solar panels kind of ugly? Well, yeah, you're right. I think my roof is gorgeous. I definitely wouldn't want to cover it up. You know what I mean?
There are people with Spanish tile roofs who feel that way.
Really? I don't know about that.
They really like them. They think they're real, like in the super high-end subdivisions. That's true.
Yeah. Well, if somebody has a shingle roof, how beautiful can the shingle be?
Yeah. No, I like that. All right, cool. You want to run the next one, or you want me to do?
I mean, it's the last one ever, huh?
Yeah, I think it ought to end with you. I decided, since I was just practicing the 25-minute thing for the last few weeks. And I decided to hell with it. These guys were never promised it would be 25 minutes. I'm just going to slow down a lot, see if I can cover things and listen to smart people ask me the same question 2 or 3 times and tell me they didn't know things I just taught them 5 minutes earlier.
review.
It's always good to have a review. You taught me things 10 times I still don't know the answer to. Open circuit voltage and amps and volts. And so
That's the problem with Google. You can look it up.
Yeah, people don't have to remember.
Right. It happens to me all the time. Like, I gets me with in the winter and the summer, which way is the ceiling fan need to be spinning? So
Oh yeah.
I feel like I looked at
Hot air
it
rises, so in the summer
every season. Well, there's you'd have to understand the blade on your fan.
Yeah, to understand if it's
Right.
slicing this way or that way, is it going up or down?
It's surprising.
A slight angle.
Yeah, and they're not all angled in the same way too. You know, I mean, I've seen fans that I don't even understand how they actually blow air. You know, like fancy ones in restaurants. I'm like, is that actually designed to move air or just to look like a certain thing?
Just to spin around to help you hypnotize yourself.
There's so much cat hair in this house now. 3 cats, Lester. Oh man. Well,
Yeah, I was hoping you read my mind. I was like, man, I wish I had Foster's picture on there because it's really pretty. And then you put it in, and then you told a story. So good work.
yeah, Jonathan, I redid a design that will work, but when we originally made Jonathan Bryant's, he had 5 months usage, and now he has 14 months usage because it's been so long. So we sized it based on, a guess because he had just moved into his house.
Great. So now we got his full usage, but it's got to be a smaller system.
Yeah, we have to drop 3 panels or talk ComEd into just accepting it. Jonathan wants more energy.
Right.
Actually, I didn't really come out and blatantly ask him. I just made the assumption because we originally built it for 113% of what we guessed. But I'm sure. I could ask him whenever we get back. But Ben is supposed to call ComEd and see what he could do.
Cool. So you called Ben after he sent that email.
Yeah.
Okay. I hadn't seen that email when I asked you to call Ben.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well, I called him, and then as I'm on the phone, as I was talking to him, I read his email. I didn't know that. Yeah. So it was just synchronistic.
Cool. Sounds like he was trying to willing to back out. I was wondering if we needed to find somebody else. I have all the information to do the interconnection, but it sounds like he kind of knows what's going on now.
Well, he's also got all the equipment in the shop.
He said he could deliver it, but then that's one more time to move it. It's one more person to find.
Yeah. I don't know why I think if somebody makes a mistake, it doesn't mean that they're not the person. It just means that, if treated properly, they won't make that mistake again.
I'd almost like, in some weird way, assuming that the mistake is made right, it's almost worth watching people make mistakes to see how they handle the mistake. Because people who never make a mistake they're so anal to work with that they're not going to be very fun. They're kind of autistic. So it's good to see how people handle mistakes.
We'll be all right with people not making mistakes. But yeah, great. They did what they said they would do when they said they would do it. You can count on them.
Oh,
that sounds great.
It's like, what do you mean it didn't pass inspection, John? So did you ever find out that inspector's going to let you save a day of work on Friday, or you got to go out and do it the elegant way?
He called me back and acted like it was very possible, but Kevin Devlin wants to not appeal it and to just do it the way that the guy wants us to do it.
Because he wants to learn how to do it the right way himself, or because he doesn't want to fight and have an appeal on his license?
I don't know if there would be an official appeal, but the second one's definitely the reason why. Apparently there was some personal dispute with that specific inspector and him like a year ago. And so it's just more of like a not getting on their bad side type thing. Because it's kind of, I told the inspector, I was like, I don't mean any disrespect, but the book says this, and we've been doing it this way for a while. And if it was less safe, then it would be one thing, but we just overdid it. You know what I mean? It's like, I could get back like $120 worth of copper tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's continuous too. It's like, it's almost, it's like, man, do I really want to like detach all of it and feed it back through holes, or just leave it there and put a new piece in,
Right. So Chris is double protected there'll be a lightning storm. They'll be the only house on the street that has electricity.
Yeah. But whatever. We'll me and Victor are going to go out tomorrow, and probably in the rain, because it's going to be raining.
How are you going to shut the electricity off?
To the house?
Yeah.
No.
You don't have to worry about shocking yourself?
There's always a chance that you could shock yourself, but I'm not going to disconnect anything under load.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, it's just grounding. It's all grounding.
Okay.
And it's not an electrical ground, it's an equipment ground.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope I don't have to disconnect anything under load. If I do, I hope it's raining real hard so it's low voltage. But those RSDs work pretty well. They like, unlike the Tigo ones who are in the open position, these ones are actually in the closed position unless they have a signal. So it's like, unless the machine is working, they're knocked down to 6 volts. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
I definitely got lit up like once or twice in the machine. It was just like super low voltage,
You got shocked doing it?
When I was testing the wires and hooking up there's this like donut, this like circle device that you put the PV wires through, either the positive or the negative. And when they have a signal from the inverter that shows that there's power, that's when they allow the voltage to flow at all the way. And so getting them through the donut, I had to disconnect them and feed them through.
I can see how that could go.
I was just being sloppy and fast because, it's DC. So it's kind of crazy, but 6 volts is nothing. Think about it.
Make your hair stand up. It's like, ooh, like a little electric fence, if that.
It doesn't travel that far. It's localized. It's not like alternating current, You should try it.
Then how do you get? I will at Holly's. How do you get the DC to go that far? Like, that's something that I'm always wondering about, because I know the reason that AC won is because it could be transported over long distances. Essentially, you didn't have to build a generator on every corner in America. I'm just wondering how far the DC can flow before it starts to significantly decrease. And what I heard you talking to Holly about is if you just have a bigger hose, then it doesn't make any difference. If you have a fatter wire, it can travel for longer ways.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference, but less resistance. The heavier gauge wire. Yeah, I don't know like actual distances, but I'm sure if you looked at different amounts of current and voltage, and you looked at different size wires, and you would be able to see at what it would be voltage drop over distance. And then you could always put like capacitors in there, like basically tiny little, situations in the wire that can
spit it back up.
Right, exactly. And you see that in car audio. People have bass, and how like, you ever seen somebody's bass hit so hard their lights dim?
Yeah.
Right. And it's pretty bad. It's bad for their alternator, because their alternator is trying to keep up with this massive drain. So that's why some people install multiple batteries or a capacitor, which just makes up for that need for that instantaneous power that doesn't pull from the alternator every time. Doesn't put strain on the electrical system.
Yeah, I had a buddy that had 10-inch JL audios and a Phoenix Gold amp in 1995.
Yeah.
And
the lights dimmed when his bass hit.
boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it was like, I want to go to competitions. I'm like, man, I don't know. This is kind of rattly, but it's loud.
What? I want to go to competitions. What?
What? Couple boom, boom. Baby got back. Hell,
Yeah.
beats Oakland.
We learned at a young age that when you're driving with the system up, you have to have the windows down or you'll pop the seal on your windshield.
Wow, you guys have far better audio than we did where I was growing up. There was no system that would pop a windshield.
Yeah, I despised riding around with a lot of people. I installed them, but I never had anything over 10-inch speakers because it just like wasn't comfortable.
Much, yeah.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. It's like, let me
Makes
out
you-
of it.
Did you ever jar the poop out of you? Have you ever been vibrated at that low enough level where it's like messes up your bowels?
You leak.
Yeah,
I've never done it, but
I haven't either. I've heard
Oh,
about people doing it. That's what I asked. Luke, where are you? Are you here just enjoying the show, or have you
he's
been
cleaning up the leakage from his base car ride.
Luke. Maybe Luke wants to run the last one.
Yeah, let's let him do it. Go ahead, Luke.
Luke, you ready to run the last one? All right. You're like about by 25% of the moms that get on here out of the last 600 people. You're still here, but you're not here.
Yeah, Amandalyn seemed like there's quite a few people who the first 2 times I reached out to them were very, very, very likely to want to make an intelligent decision about owning their power. And after like the 3rd or 4th time that the meeting didn't happen, it's kind of like, what do you know, it's like following up on the book field. It's like, I know that you'll buy these if I sit down with you, but knocking on your door again just makes me feel weird.
Kind of creepy. Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to, like, there are too many, we have too many folks and they'll come around.
It's kind of a bad perspective though. You know, the one time, one family right now, it's also like, you know what, I got to stand for you actually just getting this done because your neighbors will get it done then. And your neighbors don't know me like you know me. So we just need to have this conversation. And if are you really too busy to have this conversation with me?
Right. Like, you don't realize this yet, but this is an important conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where we are as a team. We're in a place where we just need to find 50 people this month that know us and like us to go solar and test our project management skills.
We have a lot of prospects after this weekend. We can make it to take a picture. And I'm just going to say, here's my birthday request. It's as few words as possible. Instead of a bunch of flowing, happy, convoluted nonsense. Like, send me your address and tell me how much electricity you use. So, yeah, I need some help with the words. They haven't come to me yet. When I'm walking, sometimes they come to me, then they go away. They're just something real. Like, I want to help. What's completely legitimate is that the only reason I've stayed in this field is because I felt like it would be very useful for my friends. I want my friends to be able to benefit from this. And not really communicating that very well yet. You have like Andy, like, and Brooke, like, we want to get out of debt first. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, what do you do about this? It's like smart people that trust us, that we can't communicate something super simple to. And
We're just not asking enough questions, maybe.
we just gotta like be willing to lose friends. I think it's not like they're real friends anyway if they won't meet with us and listen to what we have to say anyway.
Yeah. There's nobody that could call me that's ever been somebody I considered a friend that I wouldn't make time to talk to.
Yeah, and listen to a logic stream and make it, it's like, I agree.
It's kind of cool. You just didn't know you could do it. Like, check out how easy it is to do. It's like when you show somebody, like, talking to your friend, think about how many people have cut the cable cord because they had a friend that told them that it was safe and they could still watch their favorite shows if they weren't paying for cable.
I don't remember where I was recently, but I saw that on a screen.
Like, cut the cord?
Yeah. They were just talking about how many people have stopped using cable.
Good thing people were smart enough to pivot to internet service providers. Being an internet service provider a while back.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just time to lose some friends again. Think about how many times you get to like clear the deck of friends. At least me, anyway. I just like, it's like, you know what?
Well, it's really the time, like, it really gets back to the John Kerry going into his second summer level of belief. Like, we logically know this makes sense. We can carry it all the way out to saving the sun, right? Like, this is a step that we can't skip. This is a step we can't skip unless some brilliant scientist comes up with something even better, and then we can help get the word out about that. Got to solve this energy problem. And that's what you were talking to all your friends about, because for the first time in your life, you felt like you'd solved your energy problem or your access to energy problem. At least you had a clear path forward that you knew worked, that if people did, that they would be able to solve their energy problem. And it really was a feeling. It became a line, but you were the only person who could actually say it. Like, if I were you and you were me and you didn't tell me about this, I'd be pissed at you.
Yeah.
Attitude.
Right. Exactly. And it's just like each person focused on making sure that they're like checked off the list. I mean, that's what most of today was, just going back through and like, sending out another text message.
See, this boy at home wants to buy. I keep thinking about, I'm going to go home for a week or two, see my parents later in this month. And I've already, I really think my parents will go solar. I think that they had money stashed somewhere, like some annuity, and then they maybe have 50 grand that they weren't going to have. Like, I thought they had nothing, and they're pretty close to it, but they're like, I think we'd pay cash. I'm like, okay. We just need to know how much it is. So if I go sit down and explain it to them and find a way, then we'll be able to get it up. And then I'll be able to see my sister. They're going through some hard times financially. They might have bad credit, and I know they don't have the cash, but we can move that forward. My neighbors across the road. And then that guy, Jordan Riley or Ridley, I'm talking to tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow. It might be next Friday. He's been wanting to do it for a while.
Yeah, these battery systems, they're they're almost going to be everything what we do every time.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, storage ready might be like, it's like people are just going to ask us a year later, come back and put batteries in, and how do we price that? Because essentially
$500 plus 2,000 for the labor.
Yeah, it's gonna be real difficult to have somebody go out and do that for that much.
For $2 grand.
Yeah, if they need to wire in the $2 grand is nice if you're already installing solar in an inverter. But to have somebody go do a critical load panel, including parts and labor.
How much would it cost then? We'll just say, well, the good thing is if you get the batteries now, it's 500 plus 2,000. But it's
I don't know.
double that if you get the batteries later, and they'd still be.
I don't know how much somebody else would charge for it. It's like rolling a truck a lot of times is like, it's just such a large amount.
Right.
And then parts. I've never seen a thrifty contractor. You know what I mean? Like, you look at how much copper they cut off at the end of a pole. It's like, well, I overjudged that by 20 feet per string. No big deal. They throw away 5 gallon, like trash cans full of copper on a weekly basis, Yeah,
that makes sense. They value their time highly.
Right.
This is what their actions show. Like, it's not worth my time to figure out exactly what I need. It's not worth my time to get these little pieces, unless they just go sell it for recycling or something. Copper costs what copper costs, but it seems like wire pulled would be more expensive than just base copper, right?
Right. Yeah.
Something I've been kind of concerned about as commodities start to head to the moon is like, where insurance would be good. Is on people's roofs, it's not going to be that big of a deal, but is there enough copper in these installations to make it worth people who go around stealing copper's time to go steal some copper from solar panels or fields of solar installations? Or
No, there's not really any copper in a solar installation. I mean, like it's on the roof.
and
And
it's
then,
the ground.
yeah. Well, not anymore. We're apparently not running a bare copper ground anymore. So we're just running like a 10 gauge insulated ground wire inside of the conduit.
It sounds crazy.
It does sound crazy, but
I mean, if it gets hit, it seems like I guess you're really counting on that coating to not just melt the other wires that are in there that matter. It would seem.
yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And you're taking your direct current ground back to your grounding bar. They don't even take the ground to a grounding rod. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm gonna do it the way that this inspector said and see what happens because it's way easier.
Do you think that it's possible in a place like Kansas, where there's a lot of really bad thunderstorms, in Oklahoma, they have different rules where we would have to do it the way that you've learned to do it?
It seems like it's a smarter way to do it anyway, but it's more expensive and it takes longer and it doesn't look as good.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, but I'm really excited to start doing installations the way that this guy is saying to do them. It's like,
yeah, we can do. They will go over to Greensboro and put up one, and they'll be like, "Wait, where's the grounding rod?"
I know, but it's NEC 2017, and this guy was like seemingly very knowledgeable, and I think he was like basically pointing out the fact that the way that they used to do it was just not intelligent. Just like it's not necessary.
It seems like they'd learned that about rapid shutdown devices. I talked to somebody the other day that basically confirmed that those rapid shutdown devices are required because of lobbying from microinverter companies. It's like, if you're not going to use our microinverters, then we've got to concoct a reason why you still have to buy some piece of equipment so that we can be cost competitive with the string inverter.
Yeah, I wonder if firefighter whether actually been fried. I don't know. I don't have. I mean, that's the reason why the guy wants the ground wire run in the conduit. So if somebody were to axe through it, because right now we just run it alongside the conduit, and he's saying it's possible that you could hack into the conduit but not get the ground at the same time. Which is like, I mean, you'd have to have a really small axe, but I don't know. It's also much more. That's the only way it's could potentially be less safe. Every other way, it's by far more safe. Heavier gauge copper, run directly to the ground.